Hey, look at that. We're live.
And we're live. It's been 3.5 years since our last podcast.
It feels like forever.
Um, a lot of us are currently stuck in which is Pokemon Go.
Yeah, it's my new life.
It's Chris's new life. I just downloaded it. Say I'm only level 4, and that's probably as far as I'm going because I don't like to go outside to play video games. I'd rather just sit inside and with my junk food.
Level 16.
So you're basically you're a professional by now. Um, yeah, I've kind of just the most I've played is just sitting in my chair and eventually Pokemon come to me and I catch them. I'm probably the worst the worst player of the game. Um, so it's been a while since our last encounter. Uh, some stuff has happened. Some stuff has dropped.
Lots of stuff.
Fortunately for us, it's been work. It's a whole lot of work. But the Comic Con season is upon us, which is always good.
Best time of
Um,
the year.
I think next month starts Hartford Comic Con, right? August. I think we're gonna go to that.
Is that soon?
Yeah, I can't believe it's already been a year since Chris and I have gone to Hartford Comic Con in Connecticut.
No, we gotta make our plans. I gotta buy
Yep,
tickets.
yep, yeah. Nobody's ever gone to Hartford Comic Con. It's a great Comic Con for comic buyers, which is unfortunately not what you get when you go to New York Comic Con. Well, I mean, you have the comic sellers there, but let's be honest, does anyone have any time to really skim through back issues when you're trying to enjoy everything else? It's kind of difficult.
Yeah. New York and I haven't been to San Diego, but San Diego looks the same. They're fun, but they're different.
Yeah.
They're they're not really a Comic Con, if you ask me, but they're still a good time.
It's almost like a pop culture con because I mean a lot of people dress up and then you'll be like, do you read that comic? They're like, no, I just really enjoy this character. I think they're pretty cool. It's like, that's cool.
Exactly.
But here's a comic. You should read it sometime because they're awesome. um, yeah, so I landed my Comic Con tickets. Did I tell you this story yet? I don't think I told you this story.
For New York?
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
I actually this is the first year I've gotten 3-day passes.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, those are like the holy grail. Well, 4-day passes go first usually, and within the first 10 minutes, and like 3-day passes go within 15-20 minutes. And then Saturday is the next, and then Sunday, and then Friday, because nobody wants to go on Friday. I know there's Thursday tickets, but like there's not a whole lot going on Thursday. Um, so I had a customer in at work, and when the customer comes into work, I have to like hang out with them the whole time. And I kind of like some of the guys, some of the customers I knew previously, some were new people, and I was kind of like, guys, I have a lunch meeting from 12 to 12:30. I'll drop off your lunch and I'll be back in like half an hour. And because the tickets went on sale at noon on that day, so I went and grabbed pizzas for him real quick, which is like the most unamusing food you could grab for a customer if you're trying to impress them. So I grabbed pizzas. I kind of just throw them in front of them, like, all right, guys, we'll be back. And then I ran upstairs for 45 minutes and waited in the dreaded Comic Con line queue that everybody sits in. And there's no order to it. I mean, whether you get in within the first millisecond or whether you get in like 10 minutes later, people still didn't end up with their tickets. I got really super lucky and got 3-day passes, and um, the whole fan verification thing didn't really help at all this year because they had to reopen it. Um, it was a good idea, but
At least they're trying something.
yeah, they're trying, and it's amazing. All these people I had their Twitter like on alert, so I knew when the tickets went on sale, and it's amazing like how dumb people are. It's like every day they're tweeting about fan verification. Like people just didn't understand it. It's like all you have to do is go and read at the webpage. But lo and behold, they had to open fan verification up 2 weeks later because nobody understood how it went. Like, it's like, this is why we can't have nice things, because people don't read up on it to the last second before they're buying tickets. Whatever. End rant. But I got my tickets. There's a bunch of cons going on before that we're probably going to end up at. But New York's always a good time. It's like I always show up there with a plan, and the plan never happens. And then it's the end of the weekend.
Yeah, the one when I went to New York, I went there with a plan too, kind of like I do with PAX, but like it was just such chaos that you can't follow it. You just kind of have to go with the flow.
Yeah.
Whereas when I go to PAX every year, I know exactly what I'm doing, and I can follow the schedule.
Yeah, PAX is really organized.
Yeah, it's just big enough to be a big deal and just small enough for me to get around and do what I need to do.
I will tell you one thing I'm going to try to do Friday when the doors open. I'm going to sprint to the artist alley and write my name on the list for Ryan Otley's commissions. And I'm going to pay him $200 for the best Invincible commission that he can do for me. Because this is the first time I've ever seen him at any type of con.
That'll be awesome.
Actually, I was thinking maybe Battle Beast for anybody who watches Invincible. I think I want to do a Battle Beast commission.
That'd be cool.
He's like, you're going to occupy my time for all weekend. I was like, I don't care. I'm paying the money. Give me my Battle Beast commission. It sucks because he doesn't do stuff online. He's so popular now that he's like, I only have a list. You got to get there early at Comic-Con, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about and Ash versus Evil Dead season 2. I have a feeling that they're gonna show some stuff there, maybe the first episode. So hopefully I get to see that. Maybe a Q&A with Bruce Campbell after. He's always a funny guy to see.
I've never had a chance to see him. I'd like to.
I wanted to when I was at Comic-Con last year, they played the first episode, but it was weird because they had some of the there was too many people at Comic-Con, so they had to move some of the panels down the street to Hammerstein Ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of them. We just didn't make it down the street to see it, but they had the trailer set up from the show, like not like a video trailer, but like the trailer that his car tows around, and like you could take a tour through it, and it had like all his weapons and shit, and it was pretty cool. But I'm a huge fan of Evil Dead, so it'll be an exciting year. San Diego's almost here. What, a couple more weeks, I think, and then
it's got to be soon because we're getting all the Marvel announcements.
Yeah. So what is Marvel announcing? They're finally. I feel like Warner Brothers kind of said what they're doing, and Marvel's like, all right, now we can talk about what we're bringing to the plate.
Well, they're doing their yearly new line after a big shakeup.
The reboot thing again.
No, they don't reboot. They just like renumber, and usually there's like right now we're in the middle of Civil War II. When that's over, something big's going to happen. It's going to retool the whole universe. It's they do it every year. But they've announced. I mean, they've announced some books that look really cool. They're doing a Thanos ongoing, which I'm always a fan of. They're doing a second Thor book with the original Thor called The Unworthy Thor. And we see in the cover him reaching for a hammer that looks like the Ultimate Thor universe's hammer.
Interesting.
We're going to have a new Iron Man, and it's a 15-year-old black girl.
What's wrong with that? Hey, as long as you have a lot of money, anybody could be Iron Man.
I just thought it funny they're still calling it Iron Man.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of weird. Well, I mean, would it be Iron Girl, I guess?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Tony Stark is still a part of it, so... But she's the person in the suit. They're doing a Jessica Jones book, which they need to do with the popularity of the TV show.
Oh, hell yeah. That's smart.
It's been so long since we talked. I can't remember if we talked about the U.S. Avengers or not. I don't think we did,
I don't know. I don't think we talked about the U.S. Avengers.
but that's a book I'll be buying mostly because Squirrel Girl is in
They finally found a group for her.
it. And then speaking of Squirrel Girl, they're bringing back the Great Lakes Avengers, the lamest Avengers of all time.
The Great Lakes Avengers.
Yeah, from the Great Lakes of New York.
No way.
Yep.
No, there's an Avengers book about the Great Lakes of New York.
It's yeah, like right. What's the Great Lake we have? It's wow, I'm fucking zoning right now. But yeah, it's that area.
Lake Ontario?
We called yeah,
The one oh okay. The one near you mean?
yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I always forget around us anymore.
I want everyone to know I got points for that one, even though I moved away. Chris still lives relatively close to that lake.
My
And his favorite,
everything in my
his
brain,
favorite hero is Aquaman, but he still can't name bodies of water.
everything in my brain is Pokemon Go related. So things had unimportant facts had to leave.
There's like a bunch of Charizards just floating around in your head.
Just gotta plan out my stops for tomorrow as I work. But
Oh yeah, that's perfect. It's perfect for Chris because he works for Pepsi and makes stops all day. So basically, every stop you have is a Pokestop. Oh,
in all honesty, I know everyone says that, but I usually my phone stays in my truck.
Oh, okay.
But,
I could just imagine like if I was one of the people you delivered to, and I'm like, why is the Pepsi guy like walking around the parking lot? Like, is he trying to get a signal? Oh man.
well, it's funny because all my customers say stuff like that because a lot of them are playing it. Like everybody's playing this game.
Everybody is.
And they're also like, "Oh, I'm so jealous! You get to drive around and get all these rare Pokemon." It's like, yeah, but not really. I like my job, so I'm gonna try to keep.
Yeah. That's always best to not get fired.
Yeah.
Um,
But there's a bunch more that they've announced that I can't.
we'll
remember.
get to we got some comic talk later. Warner Brothers finally confirmed that Wonder Woman's coming to San Diego Comic-Con, which is like
I'm shocked.
water's wet. But it's it's the only time Wonder Woman's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, so why not have her there? The movie's wrapped up. They also announced Suicide Squad, obviously.
Aren't they doing a screening of that?
Oh, are they? Oh, that's sweet. I'm jealous now.
Thought I heard that they were.
That is worth a $500 Comic-Con ticket in itself. Let's see. Oh, and also in that lineup, I think the one I'm most excited for, I don't know about you, but the Lego Batman.
Oh,
movie.
I can't wait for that movie.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I hope they have a new trailer or like a panel about it and just give us some more of those Easter eggs. I think someone from Warner Brothers described it as like an hour and a half long Easter egg, or like just all this comic book goodness wrapped up into a Lego film.
That's what it needs to be, is just reference things one after another. The story doesn't need to be anything all that great. It can be the same old, like, just he goes out and punches Joker in the face and goes home.
That's probably what it'll be on a loop for like 2 weeks straight, and it's just everything else involved with it.
Exactly.
Oh, that was weird. Just had like a power surge. So what else? Oh, the Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition. Have you watched it?
Nope.
No.
No.
Well, I guess it's not out on Blu-ray yet. The digital version's out.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't all that great.
It wasn't that great.
I'd heard from people that actually liked the movie that it was just kind of like they added a fuck here and some blood, and that was about it.
No way, man. Um, they added about. Well, I honestly don't think it would boost its. It's hard to say. I mean, I enjoy the movie either way, so it's I'm kind of biased here, but they added a lot more to the African scene. So it's like you understand what's going on in that scene. They actually follow that woman around who like testifies against Superman. They follow her around a lot more in the movie. You get to see Clark Kent being a reporter, which was nice, like following up on the Batman and asking about him, um, and how there's a scene in the prison where one of the guys who gets branded by Batman, Lex Luthor has the guy like shanked to death in the prison. So Superman thinks that when people are branded by Batman, they get stabbed to death instead of like just getting the crap beaten out of them. Um, so it was a bunch of little things, but it was weird to me how like some of it made the plot a lot more coherent. As for like Superman's motivations and showing Clark Kent being a reporter, but I liked it. I think you just see it for yourself, and then we'll see what you say about it. I mean, there's over 30 minutes of extra stuff added to it. It was a little more than just a little extra blood here and there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if it pops up and I have time, I would watch
Yeah.
it. But it since I didn't really care for the original movie, I won't go out of my way for it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's hard to set it like it's hard to set aside 3 hours of your time. I
Yeah, like
watched
when
it.
when
Yeah.
they did this with Watchmen,
Hmm.
like I love that movie. So to see a what that ended up being like a 4 hour cut.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, so I was all
like
in.
three and a
Like,
half hours, I think, or something like that.
yeah, to me that was just icing on the cake.
Yeah,
So
I I had to watch it in like three installments. I could just sit down for 3 hours and watch it. I had to watch it like an hour at a time. Um, okay, so the initial the Ghostbusters premiere happened, and there's initial reviews coming out about it. Um, apparently, spoilers. We didn't do the spoilers tag, but it's I'm not going to spoil the plot, but it's a reboot and not a sequel at all. So like all the guys that are in it from the original Ghostbusters are just making cameos, but they're not the actual characters from the previous
which
movie.
the studio had said multiple times, but just
Hmm.
their commercials made it seem different.
That's yeah, it's they really did. I don't know. I think my bulb is dying. That's why my room keeps going completely black.
I was gonna say, like, what's going on over
It's like a light show happening over here.
there?
I'm just gonna ignore it though. So yeah, it was like false advertising, and I was listening to I looked at a lot of different reviews, and it was weird. It's like everybody's on. There's nobody in the middle. They're either saying they hate the cast or they don't work well together, and then the other side is just people saying the cast works awesome together. So
Well, the one criticism I've heard across the board from what I've read was that the big issue people are having with it is that the original ones were a movie that all these actors played very straight and
yeah,
the situations were funny. Whereas this one, they're kind of playing it up as a gag reel.
yeah, it's
I don't know. I plan on seeing it this weekend, so I'll have my opinion next week, but it doesn't
I
bode well for it.
I don't. I think I'm just gonna wait. I don't really have any ambition to see it at the theaters. I mean, I heard Katie McKinnon was the best part, or one of the best parts, and I already knew that going into it because I was excited about her being in it. I heard Thor was really good, and I don't know. What Kevin Smith said, he was like, if you're already, bitter about the movie going into it, you probably still won't like the movie. And I think that's a good way to put it, because like I was expecting, if I did go into it, to extremely like it. I don't know. I was looking for a complete turnaround if I went in that movie for me to enjoy it, but
yeah, I personally could care less whether it's all women, all men.
yeah,
Whatever.
it doesn't matter.
I never really cared for the woman that's playing the lead.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my big thing, was just like, oh, I don't know, I don't really like her, but it's Ghostbusters, so I'll check it out.
Yeah. I did hear one thing Kevin Smith said about the premiere, that before the movie even started, like when the music was playing, a couple young girls got up and started dancing, like 11, 12 years old. So it's kind of cool that they have more role models out there for them. So that's always good. I mean, their age group's going to find that movie awesome and super exciting. You know what I mean? It's good for them that they have something.
I think my only criticism without watching it is I think it's a missed opportunity for it not to be a sequel.
Yeah.
Because then they could have done they could have had two movies going at the same time, with two different casts, and just been like, well, both these teams are just holding up the legacy of the previous.
Yeah. That would have been perfect.
Because, I mean, personally, I think they should have done a mix team, but there are plenty of male comedic actors out there that I would love to see take on Ghostbusters.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
I saw Finding Dory a couple weekends ago now. Did you see it yet?
No.
Do you care to see it?
I do, but I'll wait for DVD.
Spoilers. It was really good. I mean, obviously, I loved Finding Nemo. But like, obviously Pixar movies always tug on your heartstrings. Like, but this movie was more sad than it was happy for me. About halfway through the movie, I found like the true meaning of the movie. Like, how they have like, what was it? What was the movie about the emotions?
Inside
Out.
Inside Out.
Yeah, like that was about like, growing up, and sometimes sadness is part of life.
Inside was the video game.
Yeah. You have to learn to deal with sadness and stuff. And that was a really depressing realization for that movie. This movie is more of like kids with like disabilities, or like, handicapped kids are different, but they have their own way of approaching things, but they're special in their own way, and they can still, overcome great odds and stuff like that. I realized that like halfway through the movie, while these kids are laughing and stuff at Dory when she forgets something every 5 seconds, and I'm like, this is awful. I'm like on the verge of like bursting into tears, and all these kids are laughing. I'm like, stop laughing, you assholes!
You monsters!
She has a mental disability. Why are you laughing? I mean, obviously it was a great movie. One of the best parts of the movie for me was, I mean, as you get older, you realize these things with those movies. But that's what's amazing about Pixar movies. They speak to the adults and the kids at the same time.
That sounds like it would hit close to home for me.
Yeah, it's very emotional. Bring a box of tissues for sure. What the hell? Oh, Idris Elba is in it, and I had no idea. So he plays like a walrus, and it is one of the funniest scenes. Like him and his other walrus friend are on a rock together, and I can't remember who voices the other walrus, but they're on a rock together, and they make fun of this other walrus who, like, he appears on the rock every once in a while, and they just start screaming at him and stuff. It's the most ridiculous scene ever. You're gonna like die laughing at it. But then I realized like Idris Elba has been doing a lot of voice acting because I was on a plane last weekend and I watched Jungle Book, and he plays the villain. He voices the tiger. And there was one more movie that he did some voice acting for. It was he did voice. I watched both these movies on the plane. I watched Jungle Book and I watched Zootopia. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah.
And he does voice acting in both those movies. I'm like, no wonder why Idris Elba hasn't been in anything lately. It's like he's voice acting all the time. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. It's cool to hear him doing it. Plus, it's easy money for these actors. They sit there and talk in a microphone and they get paid for it. I mean, I can't imagine it's that hard to sit there and talk to someone in a microphone, Chris. I don't know I don't know about you, but it doesn't sound hard to me.
It's the toughest part of my day.
Toughest part of the every 2 weeks when we can have this podcast. Right. Speaking of Idris Elba, Dark Tower is being filmed. I've never really gotten into the Dark Tower books or graphic novels by Stephen King. I saw the image of Matthew McConaughey, though. He looks pretty badass in the trench coat with the black hair. I forget who's playing who, but I think Idris Elba is the character named the Gunslinger, which that just sounds badass.
Yeah, I always like the premise of that, but I never had a chance to actually sit down and read them.
Do you know what the plot is? I don't.
Just that it's like a Western post-apocalyptic.
Oh, okay. That sounds pretty. I mean, I would read it in graphic novel form because novels and graphic novels exist. It's just I know in the regular books, there's like 10 books like in the series.
I thought about getting the comics of it just because it would be a faster read.
My sister who reads, I got her into comics a few years ago. She reads like horror books, and she was always into like Lock and Key and stuff like that. But she said Dark Tower is really good, so maybe I'll check it out.
It makes sense since the guy who writes Lock and Key is Stephen King's son.
Yeah, Joe Hill. A lot of people don't know that because he took his own name so he wouldn't be like Joe King, and everybody's like, oh my God, Stephen King's son, buy his books. Yeah, I bought the first volume of Lock and Key, and it is pretty fantastic.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It is. It's crazy. It's so good. It's written like perfectly, and the art is amazing. I don't know who does the art. I'll get back to you on that, but we gotta celebrate because we're less than a month away from Suicide Squad. Are you excited? Are you scared?
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I keep seeing all these articles about Jared Leto's Joker. I'm like, you don't even know anything about Jared Leto's Joker yet. I'm like, leave it alone.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep an open mind to it and try to stay as out of the loop with it as possible.
Yeah,
because all the previews I've seen haven't thrilled me, and I want to like it.
I mean, I saw something online where David Ayer, the director, said Batman is terrifying in this in his movie, which is I didn't really understand what that meant, but someone had brought up the idea that it's like we're going to see Batman in this movie from the perspective of the villains. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, which is a cool idea.
Yeah, the villains are the main character, and we're going to see them, duke it out with Batman, or see someone duke it out with Batman, but it's, the movie's not about him. He's just coming in and being annoying,
I really hope it's good. I don't hate the Jared Leto Joker design. I hope they do the fan theory version of it, but we'll see.
What's the fan theory? I haven't heard this yet.
That it's Jason Todd.
Oh yeah, where it's like the whole damage tattoo and thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be. Wouldn't that be a crazy twist? And like that the costume hanging in Wayne Manor is his costume, and
it would just be a great take on it.
Yeah,
something that hasn't been like I'm all for these movies doing something that has never been done before. I mean,
Mhm.
I love the Marvel movies and how faithful they are, but I'm also okay with DC kind of going in a different direction, saying let's try something new in the movies and see how it works. Um,
I was speaking of the movie, DC movies really quick. I had read that I didn't know this until like a couple days ago. Jeff Johns had a hand in writing the Wonder Woman script.
oh, really?
Yeah, with the I can't remember the lady who wrote it with him, but I, just let Jeff Johns write all the scripts. That's like let him help everyone write this. Just like he helped everyone start off Rebirth. Just let him start off the movies for everyone. I heard that and I got excited. So, but yeah, I back to Suicide Squad. I'd like to see an interaction between either Batman and Waller, or just even just Bruce Wayne and Amanda Waller. Like really snickery towards each other or something. I'd be really interested to see a scene like that.
I know they don't want to do it, but I think what you're saying would work really well as a stinger,
As a
like
stinger.
that after credit scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Like afterwards, either Batman or Bruce Wayne just walks in and starts talking to her, like, you don't
Yeah,
know what you have here, and oh, we know what we're doing, and blah blah blah.
yeah, yeah. That'd be pretty cool. Um, okay, so I think that's it for movies. Um,
Yeah.
unless you got anything. TV shows, Flash season 3. Bunch of stuff dropped the last few days of that. Now, there's some theories going around on the internet. Spoilers, but Wally West has a costume now. Um,
I saw the photo of it.
did you see it? It's like cut and paste from the comics.
Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome. It is one of the. I'm getting excited to just think about it, but it's one of the best CW costumes I've seen so far. That thing is freaking awesome.
Well, because it looks like they're doing the new version of Wally West where he's Hispanic or some.
Yeah, I mean he's black on the show, but
Okay, so he
yeah,
dark
it's
skin, but the costume itself reminds me of Wally, the original Wally West
yeah.
costume with
So
the hair showing.
here's a theory that everyone has. We also saw there's pictures online of a guy in a black and red Flash costume with him. Like I assume they're fighting in the scenes in the photos, and he almost has the same color suit as the Black Racer does. And the Black Racer is basically, I think he's a new god, or he's just the god of death. And
Pretty sure
if
it's
you're
new.
yeah, if you're about to die, the Black Racer comes and he touches you, and you're dead. There was a huge fight scene with him in the latest Justice League run, written by Jeff Johns, where him and the Black Racer are racing, uh, um, and he's trying to outrun death. It was a really cool scene, but they really took from that costume to the show, and then everybody's talking about how now that we're getting into Rebirth, because Wally hasn't demonstrated any powers yet on the show. So now that we're getting into, or not Rebirth, I'm sorry, Flashpoint, that Barry's going to wake up and he's not going to be the Flash, but Wally is. And this Reverse Flash is going to be like the new 52 costume of Reverse Flash, where it's still going to be Reverse Flash, just a different guy this time, which I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, where they start off the season and Barry just doesn't have any powers.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the set photos I've seen so far, he's not in a costume. He's just in his regular clothes, and you get a whole season of just Wally as Flash, or at least half a season.
The interesting question that's popped up is, will Flashpoint last the whole season or not?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
I hope it does, because then
Yeah.
they can get into some of the side stories. And since they've cast Superman and Supergirl, and they're actually doing that, I hope that means that we can do Batman and Flashpoint. And
Did we
since-
talk about? I don't think we talked about they cast Superman for TV again.
No, but just to finish up my point,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan wants to play Flashpoint Batman.
Yes, I know.
So
Please,
that needs to happen.
yes.
Especially
Jeffrey Dean
the-
Morgan.
The Batman storyline in Flashpoint is probably my favorite part of Flashpoint.
Oh yeah,
The idea that Bruce dies and that Martha becomes the Joker.
yeah. Now, anyone who doesn't know who Jeffrey Dean Morgan is, he's Negan on The Walking Dead is probably the most recent thing. Comedian in The Watchmen, the father in Supernatural of Sam and Dean, but he was also Thomas Wayne in Batman vs Superman. I would love to see a Thomas Wayne Batman. That is one of my favorite Batmen, I guess.
I think that's correct.
Yeah. It's hard to really, when you start talking about all these fantasy things, you just start inventing your own words and just go along with it. Yeah, just because the whole badassness of, and it's Batman with the 5 o'clock shadow and he's just shooting people with guns. I mean, obviously, I'm not really a huge advocate for Batman killing people, but this is like the Batman with the motivation that my friggin' 10-year-old son was killed. So now I'm just going to kill all of you. You know what I mean?
I was going to say it's a different motivation from, you know, your parents died when you were young, or killed when they were young, and now you're trying to avenge them, and you feel like the best way is non-violent, which doesn't really make sense, but does.
Non-violent, breaking people's noses.
But, you know, non-killing way of doing it. Whereas, you know, I talk to anyone that has kids. If somebody murdered your 10-year-old son or daughter,
Yeah.
you'd be off blood.
And turned your wife into a murdering clown lunatic.
Yeah, psychopath. So
Yeah.
it makes sense in terms of, you know, the emotions of how that would play out.
It's such a it's like a complete opposite spectrum for that character too, because Thomas Wayne was like, you know, the really upstanding citizen of Gotham. He was the hero without the costume. He was kind of what Bruce Wayne neglects to be, where Thomas Wayne is like, he's a surgeon, he's very precise, and then just to come down to this barbaric, like animalistic self where he doesn't give a shit about the way he looks anymore. He's really run down. He's like an alcoholic and he's shooting people, you know?
Which, you know, back to my point, I feel like the circumstance could cause that kind of a change in somebody.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just talking about it gets me so excited for. I would love to see a Thomas Wayne Batman.
That's my big hope for next season of these shows.
Speaking of, so yeah, we're talking about Flashpoint. I don't really pay attention to Arrow things anymore because Arrow's kind of let me down. They showed a picture of Steve Amell from the latest picture of him from the set, and he got like, he's already jacked to begin with, like he's really cut and, you know, got the 6-pack and stuff, but he like bulked up to like, it's almost like he's put on a lot more mass to where it reminded me of like Dark Knight Returns type of mass, you know what I mean? To where like, and he had the wig back on to where he had these like long dark hair, and it looked like he was fighting in Russia in some like fighting pit somewhere. So I'm thinking like we might get Green Arrow, but he's like not a good guy. I don't know.
I keep hearing about more vigilantes joining the show, and
yeah,
the idea has been thrown about that Green Arrow, you know, gives up the quiver again.
Yeah.
And leaves it to these guys for a while until things get out of control, and he needs to come back.
They announced Vigilante on the next season of Arrow.
Yeah. And
the way the Vigilante book, he kills himself at the end.
Yeah. So
like that's pretty dark. I don't think you can get any darker than that. I don't know. I feel like they got to do some changes to make me interested in it again. And what better way to say, hey, we have Flashpoint to kind of reset everything.
I was gonna say, it seems like they could use Flashpoint as an excuse to kind of fix some of the muddy waters that's been happening with Arrow.
Yeah.
And explain why Supergirl is part of the universe now.
Yeah, that would I mean, maybe she comes back to Earth or Earth 1 for ice cream again with Flash, and she stays and never leaves. Their interaction, I cannot wait to see more crossovers. I eat that shit up. It's like, it's so good. I just sit there smiling like a friggin' idiot every time like they do those crossovers. I'm like, it doesn't get any better than this. So how far are you in Preacher?
Caught up.
Caught up.
Yeah.
You made a promise to me you'd be caught up, and here you are. Wow, everybody. Look at that. Let's go over what happened last episode. Arseface went to hell. So spoilers for Preacher last episode. Jesse Custer has been doing more and more with his powers, to the point where he's kind of become like a jerk about it.
Yeah, I lost.
But I mean, hey Chris, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you were dropping out of connection. Okay, so we'll start over about Preacher. So Arseface.
Sorry, I disconnected somehow. Fix that in post.
Okay.
By fix that in post, I mean not do anything.
Yeah, we don't post. The most legit we've gotten recently is we have T-shirts now, and we have a really nice cover photo of ourselves on our Facebook page that you should check out.
We got that pretty website too.
Yeah, pretty website, very pretty. We'll talk about that at the end. So back to Preacher. Arseface, poor Arseface, man. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I feel so bad for him after about hearing his origin. So let's talk about the Arseface origin really quick. That girl was not kicked in the head by a horse, which we talked about earlier. She was shot in the head by Arseface. So it turns out Arseface is a real big arsehole, really, as a character. Like,
but
thank you. He gets turned down by a girl, so he shoots her in the head, and then he tries to shoot himself, and he doesn't kill either of them. Both of them are.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
It's really messed up. And then he sends him to hell. I really want to know where he goes. It
is. It's tough because this whole show really plays well with that like ethical middle ground.
Yeah,
because
really.
When you hear that about Arseface, you're like, wow, he's a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
But how he's acted in the show, it seems like he's trying to amend for what he did, and that
yeah.
Does he deserve forgiveness for it? I mean, I think there's a lot of questions that the show is trying to ask. So
well, it doesn't seem like he has the best home life either.
Well, like now knowing the situation, I can imagine that's tough on this whole family.
Oh yeah, for sure. So the episode, well, this is the most recent episode. We'll talk about the one before and after this. He goes, go to hell, and he sends him to hell, and the episode ends with him digging. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, is he under the church when they showed the floorboards? So maybe he's just under the church somewhere, and I don't know.
I mean, they've stated that heaven is real and angels are real. So
yeah,
does that mean that hell and demons are real? I would assume so. There has been talks of a war going on.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's the war between heaven and hell.
I think it's going to be the point where like hell gets really annoyed with Arseface and they send him back. I think that's how that's the way I was thinking about. Like, he's gonna get back because they're gonna be really annoyed with him, like everybody else is, and be like, we don't want this kid here.
I feel like he's gonna come back somehow.
Yeah,
Just don't know how.
yeah. I don't think this is the end we've seen of Arseface. He's too um, vocal of a character to just waste him like that. And Cassidy going up in flames. We didn't see what happened to him after that. That was pretty crazy.
This was a great show to showcase Jesse as kind of losing control.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really understand the power he has, and you can tell that he felt like up to this moment that he had the power of God and that he had complete control over everyone and everything. And now all of a sudden he's seeing it backfire.
Yeah.
And I don't think he knows how to deal with it.
It's almost like the monkey's paw kind of effect where like, you're doing all these things for these people, but it's not going the way you planned. The whole thing with like Quinn Kin and that guy's just every time they show him listening to cows die, it's just so messed up.
The guy that got to play him is perfect.
Yeah, he is. He is something else, man. I know, he is terrifying. But anyways, I think this episode is more serious than the last episode with the whole hotel fight scene. I think the hotel fight scene. Basically, they're fighting these. I mean, if you don't watch Preacher, you should watch Preacher. Preacher, Cassidy, and the two angels that are going after Preacher because he has the voice of God inside him, are fighting with another angel who has been sent down to come back after the two angels that are already down on Earth because they're there without permission. So they end up fighting in a hotel, and every time one of the angels dies, they get revived instantly. There's like a flash of light. So they go on fighting in the hotel for like 10 minutes, and there's just dead bodies laying everywhere.
It's possibly the best intro to a TV show, an episode I've ever seen.
It was so ridiculous. I loved it. Yeah, that it's interesting. And then, I was thinking about this because they said they sent Arseface to hell. There's been a couple beginnings of the episodes where they show that steam vent coming out of the ground, and like burping up steam. It's just, and that girl fell into the sinkhole in one of the other episodes, and I wonder if there's something going on underneath the town. I don't know.
Yeah, I really like the way they've approached this show where they're not. I mean, they're introducing the characters but they're not really following any storyline of.
No, I like it. And it seems to be the fans are liking it too because I keep watching the first issue of Preacher goes skyrocketing through the roof. I think it's up to
I think it helps a lot that Garth Ennis is on board with it and approves of pretty much everything they've done.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I really like where they left the last episode off. Jesse has nobody. He's searching for the one person who believed in him more than anything, and he's being attacked by Q-Cannon.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it that way. He's searching for the one person that believed in him.
Yeah. That was his most dedicated follower, and now he sent him to hell.
Yeah, the whole thing where him and Cassidy arguing about it was awesome. How he was like, "Are you gonna send me to hell too? Like, I've done all these bad things."
And if you listen to the Preacher Insider podcast, the writer and director were talking about how, when you really think about it, Jesse didn't really know that Cassidy was a vampire. There was no, other than Cassidy saying like, "Hey, I'm a vampire."
Yeah, he definitely didn't believe him though.
Yeah. There's no way to really prove it. So Cassidy walking into the sun and burning was a huge scene because it kind of it definitely showed Jesse that, Cassidy is something.
Yeah.
And it's not human.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be interested to see, what happens.
Yeah, that was just awesome. Uh, Outcast has been really good. It's just moving along. The last episode ended with the I think they're still married. I don't know if they're divorced, but they're like they're gonna get back together, and we find out that she's not actually still possessed by the demon, which is a pretty big event because we find out that the preacher has been going along. This is a different preacher than the preacher in the preacher show, um, who's been exorcising the demons. We find out that he didn't really fully exorcise the demons. So like the episode was them driving around, going to the people that they supposedly saved, and the demon or whatever is still in them, and he didn't know for years. Like he always believed these people to be good. So his faith gets like crushed, which is it's kind of sad. But comic news. Let's get to the comic book stuff. What have you read recently that you really liked?
I think the most recent favorite that I picked out was the newest issue of Walking Dead.
Was that the one that ends with Negan? And
Yeah,
Alpha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I'm caught up.
It's basically showing day-to-day life with these whisperers.
Yep.
And how Negan is attempting to fit in, but he doesn't fit in. And in the end, they reveal his, we need to get better at saying this at the beginning of the show, but spoilers.
Yeah, I know.
The reveal at the end is that Negan really left to infiltrate to prove to Rick that, he wants to be a part of the team.
Yeah, the issue is when you think it's all about actual romance, it's really just all about the bromance.
Negan ends up killing and cutting the head off of Alpha.
Yeah.
And then ends it with saying, Rick's going to like this.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting twist that I didn't see coming.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming either. I was like, wow, this guy's a dick. He's just gonna hang out with these people, and I don't know if Rick's gonna be excited about it though. I feel like Rick's gonna be pissed.
I can't wait for the next issue to see what Rick's reaction is.
Because double machete guy is gonna be real mad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's gonna go out. That's gonna start a war.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be the start of the Whisper. Because I know that the next storyline is the Whisper Wars. They've already talked about that.
The Whisper Wars.
But I guarantee this is a catalyst for that. Because now Beta has a reason to not only rise to alpha status, but to, act on his baser instincts, which is to kill.
Well, then we find out that Alpha was never really the Alpha that she made herself out to be. Like before Negan kills her, he breaks her down to where she's like, yeah, I still really care about my daughter and all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, I knew it. And then he stabs her.
That's commentary to any real leader. They show a strong face, but they're really just as weak as we are inside.
But I think that Beta guy is way more to be worried about.
Yes.
And they even if they cross their own territory, they would kill him. So it's like now that they killed the leader, they're gonna be real pissed.
Yeah. Civil War stuff's been good. I've really liked the Sam Wilson Captain America book. I did really want to mention Steve Rogers Captain America issue 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because they explain what happened with the whole Hail Hydra thing, and
what did happen?
It's as a longtime Captain America fan, it's awesome. He went back all the way. The second issue is essentially a Red Skull book.
Mm-hmm.
He goes all the way back to the 90s when Mark Waid was writing Captain America.
Okay.
There's a whole storyline about Red Skull trying to get the Cosmic Cube and it shattering into pieces. Things happen throughout the way, but this is what leads up to Standoff, which is the whole lead up to Cap becoming young again. Convoluted comic storylines. So basically, the Cosmic Cube shards become sentient in the form of a little girl, and this little girl forms this prison where they basically change all the villains to be productive members of society. Obviously, that falls apart. Everybody's sent in, Steve Rogers included. He is then changed from the old Steve Rogers to the young Steve Rogers again, gets the super soldier serum back, all that. And what nobody knew was that in the background, Red Skull knew about this little girl and was grooming her as a part of Hydra. So when she changed him, she also changed his origin so that he believes that he had been a part of Hydra the whole time. And this was the whole plan by Red Skull to break down Steve Rogers from the inside.
Wow.
So the fact that he's been a part of Hydra ever since the beginning is kind of it's something that's easily fixed.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting story because it does fit along the lines of Red Skull really trying to use Cap to beat himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's been Red Skull's thing all along, is he doesn't want to defeat Steve Rogers. He wants to embarrass Steve Rogers. So I thought it was a really great explanation, and I think it kind of shuts up all the critics that were whining about it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that they went that far back, especially to reference the Mark Waid run, because anything Mark Waid writes is fantastic.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest. I was worried when Nick Spencer took over Captain America. I never disliked him, but I never really liked him either.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's way better. I'm not going to pick on Remender. I'm not a huge fan, but I did like what he was doing. But I think he's better than Remender was with Cap. I think he's a better fit. And I really think these storylines are up there with some of the stories that Brubaker was doing in the early 2000s. I mean, I'm really, really enjoying Captain America again.
Good. I'm glad.
So
I'm really enjoying Batman, like I've always been really enjoying Batman. Yeah, the last issue where the whole interaction of Gotham Girl and Gotham on the roof with Gordon, and Batman takes off, and they're like, "Where did he go?" And they're like, "You'll get used to that." All the Rebirth issues have been pretty good. I've been reading most of them. The one I read today, I caught up on, was Justice League Rebirth. Did you read that yet?
I did.
What did you think?
It was okay.
Yeah, my problem with it was okay. I mean, it was cool. It was kind of like their Starro issue, like, villains beware, the Justice League is here, we're establishing the Justice League. But holy crap, that art was like the worst art I've ever seen.
This was something that I expressed when they first started with this whole Rebirth thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the Rebirth one-shots aren't being done by the creative team that's doing the book. I don't know if that's the case here or not, but that's what I've seen. And I felt like some of the one-shots were not so great, but then the issue ones have almost universally been awesome.
Yeah, I get that as well. But it was oh man,
I'm getting all the Rebirth books that I want just so I can get into the universe and see it. But I really haven't been impressed with the Rebirth books. I've been impressed with the actual number ones of the new series.
Yeah, and it's bad for me. Well, Newberry Comics is like a comic book chain in Massachusetts, and I went there one day, and all the DC comics in Newberry are 50% off, including Rebirth issues. So like all the ones I wasn't getting, I walked in and I bought a huge stack, and I even bought like doubles of stuff because I was like $1.50 an issue for brand new issues, and then like I bought all the Dark Knight Master Race soft cover issues because I'm only getting the hardcover, and I just like ended up dropping like $50 on comics I already have, and it was bad. I'm like, you sons of bitches! Like, this is what you did to me. I'm like, you guys, yeah. But anyways, I have all the issues now, most of them. The Justice League Rebirth issue wasn't. We'll wait to see the number one. Flash has been amazing. I actually read issue 2 today that came out. Wonder Woman's establishing herself. The origin where Steve Trevor shows up, and then to be continued. The interesting thing that's happening in the Flash right now. Are you getting the Flash book?
No.
Lightning strikes his friend or his partner. And no, he's just a fellow cop that works with him. And he gets the Speed Force. Well, at the end of the book, something happens where lightning's striking everywhere, and like everyone in Central City is getting the Speed Force. And that's how the book ends. Like, why? Like, Barry's like, why is the Speed Force? At first he thinks it strikes his friend because it wants him to help out because they're fighting this black hole guy, and then he sees like another lightning storm coming and striking all of these people, and that's how it ends. It's pretty interesting. It's like, you get the Speed Force, you get the Speed Force, you get the Speed Force.
The Oprah Flash.
Yeah. Oprah's just like, and on today's show, if you check under your chairs, the Speed Force.
Yeah, I thought Wonder Woman was good. The ending was interesting. I haven't read issue 2 yet. Issue 2 comes out this week.
Yeah.
Issue 1 was good though. Superman's been great.
Yeah.
And I haven't read issue 2 of Aquaman yet, but issue 1 was pretty good.
I didn't get New Superman. Is that what it's called? The new Superman? Or the Asian Superman?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but I saw a panel from it today where Asian Batman and Asian Wonder Woman, and they call themselves and she calls her like self Chinese Wonder Woman, and he calls himself Chinese Batman. But the art was actually pretty awesome, and the costume for Chinese Batman looked great. I was like, I might actually pick up this book just Chinese Batman is in it. And he was like super jacked. I'm like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
His costume was like blue.
The one I'm referring to is the one that's just Superman.
The
original Superman book.
That's the one. The last issue I read ended with the Justice League showing up.
Okay, you got to read the next issue. It gets better.
Oh, it's out. Okay.
Yeah, came out last week.
Yeah, I'm still kind of behind. I did read the book that Chris talks about all the time, I Hate Fairyland. I read volume 1 of I Hate Fairyland.
Oh, what'd you think?
I love Fairyland. It was hilarious. It was great. It's so bizarre. It ends with she gets trapped in Fairyland, but it's so bizarre to see like this 12-year-old like a 40-year-old trapped in a 12-year-old's body, so she's like getting wasted at the bar. Killing trolls and shit. Oh, it's so crazy. It's so ridiculous.
And when that book ended, I remember I was sitting there with the owner of our comic shop, and we're both just like, "Is it over? Like, is that it? Because I need more."
Yeah.
And then when they finally announced issue 6, we were both like, "Thank God."
Yeah, it was good for me to read in a trade. It was great though. I also started. I bought like the first couple issues when this came out, but Southern Bastards is a really good book by Image.
I bought the first volume at a con last year, and I have not read it.
Yeah, I mean, it goes quick. It's a really easy read. There's not a lot of dialogue, but it's pretty interesting. You should check it out. It's like The Walking Tall, just a little more messed up.
I've got a big pile of shame over in the corner.
Shame. You just you look over.
You go to a con, they're like, "Oh, these are half off," or like $5 for a trade. And it's like, wow,
I know.
Read this.
Every time, and I have some Kickstarter books that I need to read, and I just bought the first 2 volumes of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Yeah.
Have you never read that before?
No, I'm so excited. I finally just decided to buy the trades of it.
Did you just get the first 2?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna read those and then buy the rest. I think there's like 6 volumes.
Okay, you have to let me know when you get to Gotham, which is like volume 3 or 4.
Gotham is part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, so wait, Alan Moore writes Batman.
Yes.
Oh,
Although
I didn't.
I think volume 2 is my favorite.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Now that I'm reading this though, you need to read By the Last Man.
I have volume 1 of that as well, sitting on my pile of shit.
Yeah. Shay.
From that same con, by the way.
He just looks over and he's like, I'm gonna get to that eventually. And then
I
he goes and
bought
plays Pokemon Go.
the same guy I bought it off of. I got those 2 books and Black Mirror.
Oh, Black Mirror is good.
That was over a year ago. I've not touched any of them.
That whole Grant Morrison run of Batman is so fantastic. I think it ends with Batman R.I.P. And then Zurin
No,
Art.
this is Zack Snyder. Black Mirror.
Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
He said Zack Snyder.
Whatever.
That's
Snyder at DC.
That's just a book called Black Mirror by him.
No, it's Batman Black Mirror, but it's his run on Detective Comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of Black Mirror. There's a Grant Morrison run with Black Mirror, I think, around that time. Anyways, yeah, it's bad when you go to cons because like you look at all the trades, you're like, well, this is $5. Well, this is $10. Well, this is $5, and then it's like I spent $200, and now my backpack's full. It's like now I got to make a trip to the car and drop all this stuff off.
Yeah. Cons are. I need to make a whole plan to trick myself into thinking I don't have money when I go to cons.
It's so bad now when you go to a con because now they accept your credit cards. It's like I used to go by the Image booth. When you go, if you ever go to New York Comic Con, you should go just to experience it. Image Comics has one of the biggest booths there, and it's like the Toys R Us of Image comic goodness. And they have like things that have like Invincible figures, they have Lucille replica bats, they have all this Walking Dead stuff, all the trades you want. On the corners of the booths, they have people signing books, and you don't know who they are, so you buy their book for $10. You get it signed. But
the year I went, I'm zoning on the name of the book, but did you ever read the book that Kirkman did with Rob Liefeld?
No, I never knew he did that.
They made a hardcover version of the first issue for New York Comic Con only, and I bought it.
Really?
The book is not good, but I have that.
Yeah. So the first year we went was the year Witches came out, the comic book written by Zack Snyder. Or not? Oh my God! Now you got me doing it. Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder, yeah.
Holy shit! We're giving Zack Snyder way too much credit tonight.
Sorry, Scott.
Sorry, Scott. But they had a New York Comic Con variant, and I think only 500 made it there. And that variant goes for like $2,500 online. Nobody's ever going to pay $2,500 for it, but I think you had to pay $10 for the variant, and the line for that wrapped around the entire Comic-Con. You had to wait in it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But back to the story. When I was at the Image booth the next year, I was like, they're like, you should buy some stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm all out of cash. Sorry. And they're like, well, we take cards this year. And I was like, no. I was like, no, you don't. Get away.
Stop it.
I was like, get the hell away from me. Yeah, the amount of stuff. I like to go to one of my favorite parts is to go to the indie comic section where like you got not even guys that are on Kickstarter, but just guys that funded their own books and have, just one book, and they're from the area and they want, they give you their pitch, and whether you like the pitch or not, you're going to buy the book. It's only $3 to $5. They're going to sign it for you, but you got to listen to the pitch. I mean, they're all really passionate about it.
Yeah. And I usually determine when I go to a con like that and I see a local guy or a smaller or, less known writer, I usually determine who to pay attention to moving forward based on their pitch. Because I've
Yeah.
had some guys that are just like, their book might be amazing, but they just have this arrogance to them, like, oh, I'm better than all these DC and Marvel guys. I don't need to pitch my shit. It's like,
Yeah.
but you do.
Yeah. But you still do. You can't just walk in and expect to be Jim Lee
Yeah.
next year. You know what I mean?
It's like your book might be better, but it doesn't matter because nobody knows who the hell you are. But then a book that may not be as great, but the guy has a lot of charisma and is just in your face and really pushing and pitching his book well. That guy's probably gonna go somewhere, or girl.
Yeah, for sure. I think what I'm going to prepare myself this year for is, well, I mean, I have this list I go through. I mean, we're probably way overdone with the show by now, but this is what I do when I go to a Comic-Con. This is what everybody needs to do. You need to buy some Dr. Scholl's for your shoes or just have comfortable shoes. Even if you think your shoes are comfortable, they are not prepared for the Jacob Javits Center of New York City.
And the older you get, the more it hurts your back. Trust me, I'm not even that old.
We're not even that old, and it
back,
hurts.
yeah.
So you're going to want to pack some snacks. And when I say snacks, I mean things that are high in energy and protein, like some mixed berries and nuts, something that won't weigh too much.
Some high quality H2O.
High quality H2O water, and maybe some type of coffee or energy drink, because once 2 or 3 o'clock hits, you're going to crash. You're going to be sitting on the floor next to the bathrooms like everybody else at Comic-Con.
And this should go without saying, people, but don't eat the sushi.
Do not eat the sushi at Comic-Con.
Like, who the hell eats con sushi?
Yeah.
There's people that do it because they sell it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
You always get those people that are like, oh, con sushi. I mean, it's like, I might as well try it. Don't ever try the con sushi. Because you're the one getting con.
I don't have enough parasites in my body. I need some.
Yeah. And then you got to be careful. So there's a trick to Comic-Con. You never pay for the food in Comic-Con. You walk right out the door across the street, and all the guys with like the chicken kebabs line their carts up across the street, and you pay $5 for chicken kebab. But there's a tip. Always make sure your chicken's cooked, because those chicken kebab guys, they don't have the same health and safety codes that people with buildings have.
And they're just trying to get it out as fast as possible.
Yeah, they don't care about you. There's like, oh, 150,000 fans here. We could do without a couple of you nerds. That's what they're thinking.
And if you're going to a con in like a less crowded city, like say Boston, which we did recently, there's usually food trucks.
Yeah.
Go to the food trucks.
It's funny how you said less crowded city like Boston. Boston is so crowded all the time.
Okay,
but yeah,
Boston is a clusterfuck. Don't get me wrong, because it wasn't designed for modern day transportation. But New York may be designed better, but everything's packed.
Yeah, they really utilize their space.
They don't have open spaces, and Boston does have open spaces.
I noticed something about Comic-Cons lately. They used to serve beer and now they don't, which I'm not complaining, because I would never drink a beer at a Comic-Con because they're like $12 to begin with.
Yeah. But I think it's just going to buzz.
Yeah. I think it's more along the lines of the whole sexual harassment thing they had going on. They didn't want people drinking, which
when you bring, it's everyone's, opinion as to whether or not you should have at these events, but once you bring alcohol into an event or any kind of space, you're asking for a little bit of trouble, because there's always someone that can't handle their shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's, not condoning that type of behavior, but still, like, you bring a whole nother type of crowd in, or you escalate the crowd a little more, especially when people haven't eaten all day and they just want to drink beers, and 1 or 2 in, they're just already freaked up.
Which is unfortunate, because there's those of us, you and myself included, who just want to have 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we just like beer.
I just like beer,
No, I don't always go out to get drunk.
Yeah. By like 3 or 4 o'clock, though, I'm looking for the closest booth at Comic-Con that sells coffee. Is usually what I'm looking for.
Lucky for you, there's a Starbucks at every corner.
Yeah, really though. Any kind of, they're like have a monopoly over the cons. Always bring a a poster tube, you have no idea how beneficial that'll be to you.
Yeah, which I mean, I've been ignored that for a long time, and I just recently got one.
Yeah, I need to get one too. You can't mess around with that. Always have a sketchbook or something like a blank book for someone to sketch on if you know an artist is going to be there. Always bring, but if you have some key issues, not even that are worth a lot, but you think, hey, like Jim Lee is one of my favorite artists, and I have All Star Batman. I wanted him to sign it. Just bring it with you. It weighs like 0.01 pounds, so throw it in your backpack, and if you see him, you'll see him. You'll have him sign it. What else?
I have an issue of Super Dinosaur #1 signed by Robert Kirkman.
That's so awesome. I'm jealous of that because like I don't think Kirkman will ever sign comic books ever again.
He's too big for. Well, the year I went was when he was just like, hitting that peak, and
it's funny because nobody knows. Like we were last year when I was at Comic-Con. I'm walking by. There's the entrance before the escalators. Is like that place where you hang out. And they have escalators that go up or go down. You go down to where the panels are, you go up to the showroom floor. And they had like this little like setup with like director's chairs, and they were doing interviews like every hour or so. And there were people like maybe 10 or 15 people sitting on the floor where everybody's lined up on the escalators trying to get into the showroom floor. And I look over, I'm like, oh, that's Robert Kirkman. And my cousins are like, what? That's him? It's like, that's not him. I'm like, that's Robert. Yeah, it's creator of The Walking Dead. He's sitting right there doing an interview. And we're like maybe 6 feet from him. And like all these people are just rushing into the show floor. I'm like, that's Robert Kirkman. And the person's on a microphone talking about him. And they're promoting Outcast because Robert Kirkman created Outcast. Mm-hmm. But it said Outcast. It didn't say The Walking Dead everywhere. So like nobody knew. I'm like, that's Robert Kirkman. And at the end, the guy was like, all right, well, everybody give special thanks to Robert Kirkman for the interview. And everybody starts clapping, and everyone in the escalators turns to like, Robert Kirkman. And they all start like crowding over, like trying to like, crowd around him and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst spot to have Robert Kirkman right now. It's crazy. The amount of stuff that's going on that you don't even realize what's happening. Larry, I went with Pat and Larry one year. Larry, my friend, they're my friends. Pat's into comic books. Larry's not so much into comic books. I was in line for the Batman 75th anniversary panel that I didn't get into because it filled up way too quickly. But they ran outside to grab something to eat. And on their way back inside, he said someone said, excuse me, man, and had to cut in front of him and cut in front of everybody in the line getting back into the con. And he was like, yeah, I think it was Scott Snyder. Pat was like, it was Scott Snyder. I'm like, you got cut in line by Scott Snyder? Like he talked to you? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I hate you so much. And here I am sitting. He was late for the Batman 75th anniversary panel that I was waiting in line for that I never got into. Yeah, it's always a good time.
I gotta get back one of these years.
Yeah, for sure. But I think we could wrap up the show. We didn't do a shitty villain tonight because we just ended up talking a lot.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
I think we both have to work in the morning too.
Yeah, there's that thing going on. All right, so Fortress of Comic News. I'm Mike. He is Chris.
Find us in all the right places at Fortress News Pod on Twitter. At that Chris Runt for me, and you are
at Ricker621. Although I never post. Don't follow me. Don't give me this satisfaction. I go on once a week to check how many followers I have. Then I don't post anything. It's so pathetic.
And Facebook.com/Fortress of Comic News. And then
you need to check it out. We have a new cover photo of Chris and I that was drawn by an amazing artist, Desiree Moore. Shameless plug for her. Yes, it's awesome. Check it out. Go check it out.
I love it. I want it to be a t-shirt now. I want everything to be a t-shirt. And then fortressofcomicnews.com, the website. That's obviously where this posts. And then as a quick PSA for the website and podcast. So every Sunday we're doing the new books that are coming out the following Wednesday. So if you want to know what's coming out in your stores that Wednesday, come to the website. I'll have it up. I usually have it up about midday Sunday.
Awesome.
And this show is, we recently got on iTunes, and then while we were on break, I was doing a lot of work. We got on to Google Play Podcast and Stitcher Radio.
I don't even know what a Stitcher is, but it sounds awesome.
Other than iTunes, those are two top ways to get podcasts, at least in terms of popularity. So multiple ways to get us. If there are others that you think of that you want us to be on, let me know. I'm doing as much research as possible to get us on as many as possible.
If you have an Android, Fortunes of Comic News on Google Play. If you have iTunes, just your podcast button on your iPhone.
If you have either, Stitcher is available.
Yeah, this is it's so easy now to listen to a couple of jerks talk about comics.
Or just go to the website and listen to it. Either way.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it.
If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. I'm trying to remember all this stuff now.
Yeah, and I realized after that new cover photo, I can never shave my beard. It's got to be on here for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and I'm stuck wearing flannels forever.
Yes, you are. So now you got to go see that cover photo to wonder what we're talking about. All right, Fortunes Comic News. We'll see you guys later.
Have a good one, guys and gals.
Gals.
And Pat.